How's it going, super friends? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Brad, the DC Universe Geek, for those of you who may not know, and today I just wanted to sit down and talk about some DC stuff. DC talking points! DC talking points! So the first thing I want to talk about today actually isn't just a DC Comics related topic, it affects the entire comic book industry. And so yes, it affects my favorite one, DC Comics, and that is the idea that right now all of the pencils are hashtagged down in the comic industry. That means nobody's working, no one's doing nothing, the whole thing is on hold, and we knew this was coming. But because of that, there still are issues that are finished, which will likely still be released on the digital platform. I'm a little bit worried about this whole idea of still releasing the comics digitally, because the brick and mortar comic book stores are going to rely on us after this whole thing has by and large blown over. The ones that end up getting a stimulus package or happen to have enough money on reserve, or maybe they know someone that gives them a loan or whatever, the ones that manage to reopen after this great and horrible tragedy that is befalling our wonderful land, they're going to need us to purchase comic books. They're going to need us more than ever. And if people have already bought all of the digital copies, right? If for myself, I know that if I'm not patient and I don't just wait for the hard copies, the paper versions to be shipped and released at my local comic book store, and I decide to buy them all digitally, I mean, how many months could this be? 2, 3, 4 months worth of comics? Which means when the actual hard copies do get shipped to the comic book shops that happen to still be open, everyone that's bought the digital copies, they're not going to bother buying the hard copies. And so what happens is the comic book stores, the places that we love so much, that have been so diligently keeping our pull lists for many years, they'll end up taking a massive hit because the comics that they have in their possession that got shipped to them are by and large worthless, because people aren't going to buy them in general when they've already bought the digital copy. At this point, you would just be buying the paper versions, even though you've already read them, just to support the comic shop. I would say, as much as you can, and as much as you possess the self-control, be patient and wait for this to blow over, and then just go back to your regular comic book buying routine on Wednesdays. That way, the comic book stores that we love, that have been there for us, we can be there for them. And we're not going to see so many places that we know and love go out of business. I don't know. Just my ideas. I feel like that's the right thing to do at this point, to make sure that we keep those brick and mortar stores open, those mom and pop comic shops, the people that are just fans like us that are going month to month. I feel like we need to be there for them. In other news, it's been revealed over on a chap that I follow's Instagram page called It's Ryan Unicomb that the Justice League Mortal documentary is now back in production, which is fantastic news. I feel like this documentary being back on is such a fantastic idea as well, because I'm not sure how many of you saw the documentary that was made based on Tim Burton's never-made Superman movie. That was fantastic to see Nicolas Cage in all those suits and see all the pre-production art and hear from all those people. I feel like a veil, a shroud was lifted on all the mystery, and whether the movie was made or not, since so much work went into it, and in this case the same thing with Justice League Mortal, I feel like that is still a valid piece of DC Comics film history. What do you want, phone? That wasn't important. Setting phone to do not disturb. Here's an article from CBR.com. Justice League Mortal documentary to resume production and gets new title. After being dormant for years, the Justice League Mortal documentary will resume production with the new title, Seven Friends, George Miller's Justice League. According to a press release from Peterborough Productions, the much-delayed documentary is expected to start back up later this year. It will center around the rise and fall of director George Miller's failed 2007 team-up film, Justice League Mortal. After speaking with cast and crew on and off over the last 5 years, we're confident that we have a wonderful project to bring to light for all pop culture fans around the globe, said producer Ryan Unicomb. It kind of feels like the world wasn't really ready for this the first time we tried to do this, 2015. With everything going on in the world, now feels like the right time to look back at what may have been and celebrate what actually was. The film will feature interviews from cast and crew, along with looks at unseen production art, photography and video footage documenting the pre-production. Renowned artist Cody Boss Logic Abdo will provide the promotional art, while cosplayer Chris Stanley will recreate the production designs. Cosplay Chris, he's really big in the cosplay world, does fantastic work. However, it seems that the documentary might not have Miller's blessing. While George Miller at this stage has no intention of taking part, we are hopeful that once he sees our project as the thoughtful celebration of the work that took place that we hope it will be, he may change his mind. And there we have it. And as I mentioned before, I think this is a fantastic idea. I was so excited about Justice League Mortal when it was beginning to go into production in the first place, and then equally as devastated when it was just scrapped and left behind. So this documentary, bringing to light as much of the information as they can possibly feed to us, is absolutely fantastic. But the movie itself obviously will never be made. So if this is the best we can get to actually bring to light and celebrate what could have been, I say go for it. I am all for this and 100% stoked. Now, the final DC comic topic, for those of you who, much like myself, find yourself drawn to Spin Master's DC Comics action figure offerings, be it 4-inch or 12-inch, a lot of you have been wondering when Series 2 is due to be released. And I didn't know, I didn't have the answers myself, that is, until a few days ago. Through email correspondence with a fellow named Brock who works over at Spin Master, one of the questions that I threw in there is, when is Series 2 supposed to be hitting store shelves? To which Brock was kind enough to reply to me that the new series of figures is due to hit store shelves in August of this year. So if all goes well, if all goes as planned, and they make it here from overseas, and then they're distributed properly, and granted that Spin Master and all these companies haven't gone under because absolutely everyone is being hit by this whole COVID-19 in the business world, and also granted we are all well enough to go outside on the figure hunt and the virus is pretty much buttoned down, you can look for these on store shelves as of August at some point. He didn't give me an exact date. He just said August. Honestly, though, I hope that this virus is buttoned down by then for everyone's sake. Not for the sake of buying toys. I just wanted to throw that in there. I'm more concerned with the people than buying the figures. Honestly, if it's still rampant and the disease is worse then than it is now, buy them online. Don't go out to buy them. Get them from walmart.com or .ca, or order them from Toys R Us if you're in Canada, or from Amazon. Don't go out. Just order them. But that's it. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. Hopefully you found this video to be an interesting, thoughtful, entertaining piece of escapism from everything that's happening in the world today. And I will see you with the next one. Have a fantastic, super awesome DC day, everybody. And take care of yourselves and each other.